You're listening to Eat, Play, Sex with Dr. Cat, the place to up-level that sexy life of yours, with expert talk on sex, love, and nutrition. Coming back to the question or your story earlier, I want to tie that back in because around painful sex, I have clients who also experience painful sex, and I work a lot with them with mindfulness and this is really interesting to think about introducing to them or inviting them to do that research on. How does that work with painful sex? And is it only specific types of painful sex, or what have you seen?
Absolutely. So my painful sex came in the form of vaginismus, and I went to many different doctors, and they told me everything from dilators to lidocaine. Lidocaine. I was like, no, why would I want to
Wow.
numb out my pussy? Thank you very
Oh,
much. Um,
just stick it in.
right? Oh God, no. Mm-mm. So using THC oil specifically for me was the most helpful thing. It took away the pain entirely. And I think, I am not a doctor. I don't play one on TV, but my suspicion is that it helps the smooth muscle relax. It helps to give the nerves a little bit of a break so that they're feeling less painful sensations, but more pleasurable sensations because it does not numb. That's like the most important thing. There is no
Mm.
numbing happening. And so you also have to kind of notice the nature of your pain. Is it that you're experiencing pain with the penetration itself, like around the introitus, or is it happening during penetration where it's like your partner is hitting your cervix?
Mm-hmm.
Because those are two different avenues. And like for pain on entrance, I would say topicals are the way to go. For cervical pain, which I also experience because my boyfriend, did I mention he's really big? It's intense. It's awesome. I'm a size queen, but like sometimes I want to get railed, but my cervix is like, fuck you, dude. So
Mm-hmm.
um suppositories in that case are
Mm.
so helpful. Also really great for people with cramps and folks with endometriosis. I actually had Dr. Shannon Chavez on my podcast like a month ago
Mm-hmm.
talking about endometriosis and suppositories. So depending on where the pain is coming from will help depend on like what the best way to go is. But for I would say largely internal pain, stick with suppositories, and external pain or like entrance opening pain, stick with topicals or both. Both is
Mm-hmm.
a great option also.
Okay, just get it all up in there. Yeah.
Right.
And when you say vaginismus, can you explain to our listeners what that means?
Yeah, vaginismus is just really the fancy medical way of saying pain with penetration, and typically it's caused by a psychological reaction of that your body involuntarily clenches the PC muscles, typically due to trauma, sometimes due to other things. But like you see in a lot of trauma survivors, that your body just when you're in a sexual scenario, it may trigger flashbacks to an assault, and your brain just kind of is like, "Arr," and everything gets tight, and that can make penetration painful. And that was
Mm-hmm.
what was happening for me. I would try to relax, I would try to breathe, and it would help a little bit, but like nothing was really letting those muscles fully relax until I found the oils.
Yeah, yeah, that's amazing. And what are some of your favorite oils that you would recommend to somebody who's wanting to play in this?
So the first one I ever tried, the one that is like my sort of holy grail, is Foria Pleasure, which is a
Mm.
THC oil. And there's another one on the market in California called Quimrock. They
Uh-huh.
have both THC and CBD in their formulation. I also just started working with Playboy,
Ooh.
and they just came out with a CBD line, and they have an arousal oil that is definitely not marketed for pain with penetration, but I actually find it to be really helpful because one of the ingredients, which is not going to be great for everyone, but for those who enjoy like a more intense sensation, it has niacin in it, which dilates blood vessels really effectively, much like THC does.
Yeah.
But it
It's a B
causes this sort of
vitamin.
it's a B vitamin. It
Yeah.
causes like a topical flush. And so it kind of feels like somebody's coming up to your pussy and going like, but like intensely. And so
Yeah.
if you like that kind of intense stimulation, you will love this. It feels like your pussy is like getting into a hot tub just by itself.
Oh my God, I'm imagining that. So when I take niacin, my whole body turns red and I
Hmm.
get hot and I just start stripping my clothes off and I'm just like, ah.
Right.
very sexy, but not sexy for me. Because I know everybody's got an image of that being really sexy, but I'm literally just like, oh my God, I'm burning up from the inside.
It's like a perimenopausal preview, right? Like, oh, this is what hot flashes are going to be like. Awesome.
Yay. Great. Can't wait. So for somebody who's interested in exploring in this, and what type of expert or who would they go to be able to help them to navigate, trying these things on or knowing what types of strands? Like, do they just go to a dispensary or do they work with a specific doctor? And what does that look like?
So it depends on what their specific concern is. If they're dealing with pain with penetration, I would certainly say talk to a pelvic floor specialist, someone who's like maybe a
Yeah.
pelvic floor physical therapist. Or my colleague, like I mentioned, Dr. Jordan Tischler is a cannabis medicine specialist, and he actually sees a lot of patients for sexual dysfunction, and he's doing telemedicine right now. He's based in Boston, but he'll see people all over the country. So I would definitely recommend him. His website is inhalemd.com. And so that would be an option. Pelvic floor specialist. Going to a dispensary and like talking to a bud tender is very fraught because these are people who are making minimum wage and they're expected to be like pharmacists, product specialists, salespeople, like all of these different roles with minimal training. Like it would be like asking your barista like what the best coffee is for sex. Like what should I know? Like they're not trained to answer those kinds of questions.
Yeah, right.
Oh, so don't ask your bud tender. A lot of it is trial and error. Like you have to see what works for you because any professional is only going to be able to tell you like kind of procedurally how to do the thing, but they're not going to be able to tell you specifically what's going to work for you. You have to be the one to kind of go figure that out. So buy small amounts of things and try different things. And with weed lube, like the THC oils, you can homebrew that. Like if you're listening and you're in a state that's a prohibition state, like Foria is only in California and Colorado. If you live in any of the other 48 states, that's not going to work for you. But if you can get your hands on flower, there's actually a recipe in my book for home brewing weed lube in either a crock pot or there's actually like oil infusers that they sell on the market. My favorite is from a company called Levo, Levo, and you can infuse oil with any herb, including cannabis, but you could also make like rosemary olive oil, which I like kitchen gadgets that do multiple things.
Pleasant. Yes.
Right? Or you can put rosemary in your weed oil. Like that's a great option.
Really? Does that have any effect on it or just smells really good?
It actually can have some positive effects because plants have these things in them called terpenes.
Uh-huh.
And so like lavender has a terpene called linalool. That's what makes it smell like lavender. Lemons have a cannabinoid, or excuse me, a terpene called limonene, which makes them kind of citrusy. And the terpenes actually work with the cannabinoids to produce specific effects. So really yummy smelling herbs like lavender, rosemary, things like that, basil. You can absolutely infuse those herbs into your weed lube and it will help kind of create more of that entourage effect, especially if you're using a strain that doesn't have those same terpenes in it. You're like adding extra terpenes.
Ooh, this is like a sexy Betty Crocker episode right here. Like I'm
Yes.
ready for this. Yeah. Oh, this is so great and such powerful information that you're giving us. And I feel like it's really rewriting the programs that we've been given in our culture and in our grade schools and with our families.
Lovers, thank you again for tuning in. If you enjoyed the show, hit subscribe and head over to eatplaysex.com to connect with me and grab my sexy guides. Because my goal here is to get you to eat, play, and sex better so you can improve your sex life, which will improve every aspect of your life. Until next time, keep it sexy.